Hey guys, welcome back to another installment of Unleashed Uncensored, the Inline Canine podcast. I'm here today with our guest, Lee Halverson, a good friend and former colleague in the military. Lee is going to talk about some of his experiences with the military and how canines have helped him and shaped his life and how they continue to do so throughout day-to-day life. So Lee, I want to thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks a lot. So, really quick intro, but I wouldn't mind, how long did you spend in the military and what got you interested in the military?
Prior, I really wanted to be a cop.
Yeah.
Initially,
I think that's where it all starts.
Yeah, I started with OPS and the RCMP. So that's kind of the lead into why I went to Afghanistan. I quit my job. I was in the fitness industry for, probably 17 years. And then went overseas in 2009. There was an ad that was put in the paper about, hey, we need gym folk, via PSP. I didn't know what that was, CFPSA, whatever. Jen was like, you should do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. And I did. Yeah, jumped in.
So how old were you when you went to Afghanistan for the first time as a civilian?
Let's think here. So 09. So would have been 09, May 09 to November 09. So
okay.
14, 15, 16 years ago, I would have been 33.
Quick math. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so 33, not in the military yet. Yeah.
No.
What were you going over there to do?
So I was hired on as so there's like a selection, go to Kingston and then you're selected and then it's a whole series of, they run you through some stuff and team building stuff, all that.
Yep.
And then, they took me on and then awesome. Sent me out as technically I think my title was a gym attendant because I had, this is how small the planet is. So I worked for Fitness Depot for 17 years.
Okay.
And the contract of all the equipment that was in Afghanistan was supplied by Fitness Depot.
Oh, that's a nice contract to get.
So when they asked me how much I knew the equipment, I was like, well,
let me tell you.
So they're like, oh, you know how to fix it all. You know how to maintain it. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And so that was my in.
Yeah.
And then,
absolutely.
Yeah, went out, did the first tour was 7 months. And I think that first one is, I think we showed up at like 2 a.m. Well, I had no idea what.
Yeah.
So it's like, I didn't want to put a bumper sticker on my car. I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And so when I remember arriving in Dubai, it was like 2:30 a.m. and I got off the plane and I thought the plane was the backwash that was hitting me.
Yeah.
And it was not. I was like, what I'm not going to survive. It was so hot at 2:30 a.m.
For anyone that has never been to Dubai, when the plane depressurizes and that door opens, it's a wave of wet that hits you. It's like a wave. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was horrible. And then
it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially standing on the tarmac in the morning, getting ready to fly over to Kandahar, which was even crazier. It was like I was flying into like Thunderdome in Mad Max.
Which at that time, it kind of was the Thunderdome. Like it was in that,
It was crazy. Yeah. Because we show up at night again, flying in, but as soon as that door opens, then that smell hits you. And then, off to, Canada House. And then it was you're thrown into the mix. And then, I kind of thrived because it was, I don't know, it was really.
So you landed in CAF, the Kandahar airfield, and then from there your job was to basically go out to the different, all the FOBs, the
you got bases, including like the Canadian gym, which we had, but then it slowly branched out to the American PX, their gym. They got wind because they loved our gym versus theirs. We had spinning, we had introduced CrossFit, which was big at the time.
We had a good access to equipment,
we really did. Awesome. Plus we had MMA, and the guys really liked that. We brought in like Pat Cote. There's a bunch of people came in, so it was a pretty big deal, and people just liked the gym. They liked the Canadians.
So at this point, did you know like what the job entailed, like traveling these roads? Did you know what that meant at the time, do you think?
I don't think I understood where it was going to go.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of me going, in retrospect, was to pad my stats.
Yep.
So I would
for the police.
for the police, exactly, to look, nice. And while I was there, I did well and got some hardware while I was there as a civvy from the commander at the time. It was Jay Vance.
Full circle.
Yeah. I mean, I need him in Iraq, like whatever.
Yeah.
Full circle. He's like, hey, I remember you. This is the thing, like, yeah.
There's only so many officers.
Yeah. But I met some amazing people, including you guys. I didn't really have an idea of what any of that was at the time. I'd become really good friends with a lot of the SBS and SAS guys who were they're pretty amazing.
Yeah, they're fucking great guys, man.
Yeah.
Were they out of CAF as well? Is that where they? Yeah. Great dudes.
Yeah, they were great. And, it was like, how can you not enjoy your experience? Granted, where we were, it was awful. There was, it was the first time I had experienced loss to somebody close to me. But, wake up, I would train, I'd do my job, train. I'd go eat.
Yeah.
And then like my clothes were folded for me, put in a bag, handed to my door, and I made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it was a riot. And I actually felt like I was doing something.
Yeah.
So
nice change coming over and
Yeah, for sure. And then I had kind of to go into like I had a physio background and fitness obviously. So to keep me occupied, I volunteered at Role 3 in the acute injury wards where I met.
So that's a medical facility in Kandahar Airfield that provided like surgical care and everything to all our troops in the area. So
I volunteered there the entire time when I wasn't working. I'd go there. A lot of times it was in the morning. I'd do rounds. We had everything from local nationals, children, our own guys, US, you name it. But they let me do pretty much the gambit.
Awesome.
So they just involved me because I was pretty involved.
Yep. You wanted to be in
I really did, yeah. So from like detainees to like you name it.
Oh, that's awesome that they let you go into that.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I kind of opened my eyes to a couple of worlds.
Yeah. Working with the MPs there on that side or what?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. They'd have an interpreter. I'd talk through the interpreter to, said, gentlemen. A lot of them are, honestly, they were pretty nice. They're terrified.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There were others that deserve to be where they were. Deserve to be where they were.
You could tell, man.
Yep.
Fucking.
Absolutely.
When that blindfold came off and the eyes, you could see in the eyes.
His eyes, exactly.
They fucking hate you or...
That's what I wrote about.
You got the wrong guy.
Was eyes.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. So, I got to experience like the full gambit. A lot of kids, though. I did a lot of like fresh amputees, APM, so anti-personnel mines, a lot of feet and legs with kids.
From the Russian war, probably.
Yeah, a lot of those, anti-pers mines. Some of them, especially the Russian stuff, they look like toys, right?
Yeah,
almost
was made for that.
It certainly was. So they'd pick them up, bring them home.
Which is fucking evil, man. Like honestly.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. Destabilizing.
I didn't even know about ammo at the time. However, you're taking a run around the airfield and you're like, what's that? Yeah.
Is that a squeak? A speaker toy? Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. Okay.
So were you working out of CAF here the whole time, or when did you start traveling?
No, so I worked out of CAF the whole time
for the first deployment.
Yeah, for the first and second.
Okay.
It's just what would happen is like say, you guys would call in or any fob for that matter if they ran the shit out of their treadmill. They don't have any belt left. So I'd go out, maintain them, clean them because the dust was like baby powder. That.
Oh yeah.
And clean, maintain their stuff, run classes for them sometime, do some mild physio. Sometimes they'd have people come in, locals that needed some minor care, feet, burns, a lot of burns. Yeah, so I would do that.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. I got to do some cool stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like you got pretty involved on a wide spectrum.
I was with the Van Dews, so that was my first in. Yeah. And I was in because I was bilingual.
Yeah.
So they liked me.
Perfect, yeah.
And then they took me everywhere with them. They're like, hey, we're going to, Massamgar, we're going to Spear, or like, come and fix it. All right.
Those fucking guys, man.
Yeah. I was supposed to travel by People Pod. That rarely happened.
Yeah.
I did once.
Yeah.
The other time I was in the air most of the time.
Yeah.
And I got some pretty cool video of like a 2 Apache Escort. It's me and like a crew of 5. I was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is insane.
It is kind of neat, eh? Seeing that and like, oh, this is a movie. No,
It is very cool.
Right?
It is very neat.
Yeah.
But also very real. And, you realize how
why is there twin Apaches? Why is there 30 millimeter cannons with the rocket?
I learned about all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learned about all that real fast. So yeah, but there was an appeal. It slowly started to burn, and I was like, this is a pretty cool job.
So you leave from there, which we would have probably brushed past each other. I would have been on my 4th deployment to Afghanistan at that point. I got home in 2010, but I would have been there in 2009 when you were there.
Oh yeah.
So who knows if we even fucking...
There's no doubt we did.
It just, I mean, it's crazy. It's a small military to begin with, let alone just being in different FOBs. But so you leave, you come home.
Yeah.
How does this change your current plan? Still planning on the police? Still?
Yeah, so I made it all the way to the end with them. Same with RCMP and OPS. I had met some really cool people that had helped me with, like, say, the interview process. There was a gentleman named, I just remember his name, he was Robert Pulfer was his name. Super guy. He was an analyst with the RCMP, but he helped me with, like, the interview process.
Yep.
And it did well, but was just not chosen this. I was not this time.
Yeah.
Maybe in a year. I was like, well.
Yeah, they fucked up.
I'm like, I don't have you.
Yeah.
I don't have you. I just gave you 2 years of my life.
Yeah.
You know, like literally. From like beginning to end, the process is quite long.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jen was like, you know, there's another deployment. Maybe you could go back. I was like, yeah. And then, so that happened. And then she's like, you want to join, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, I applied and got in technically as a medic.
Yeah. So was 2011 pretty similar?
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, but it was called the
landscape had changed at that point too.
Yeah, it was a transition more at that point.
Yeah, we were winding down combat ops and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I still got to, the Americans had kind of taken over the hospital. Yeah. But I still had some contacts in there, so they kind of allowed me to work in there. I didn't have as free reign as I did prior, but they let me once they got to know me, they let me do some stuff. Yeah, it was good because they all came to the gym, so.
Yeah, and you know what? That's where you get to actually learn, right? There's nothing, you know, people don't understand, like there's nothing worse than being needed at a scene, like an actual fucking nightmare scene and not having ever really practiced before or just getting the theory portion, right? Like
I remember like the first 9 line, right? Like you know, like comms lockdown, right? And I mean, I'm still pretty civilian. I thought even as a military guy I was pretty civilian. But you know, internet everything goes down and you're like, what the heck is going on? And then they're like, okay, well, you know, they need blood, number one, so everyone needs to go. It was like, oh, okay.
So just before you go into that, I just want to clarify for people listening, like a 9 line is initiated when we usually have troops in contact or troops injured, right? Yeah. So this could be for any nation, depending, but you know, and that is to get medical care to you ASAP through the dust off was their call sign, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Fuck, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But, get the Blackhawks moving, get over to you. And they had like 5-star care on board, like surgeons, everything, if they needed to get you back to the roll 3 to get you into like surgery. That's why being where you were in Afghanistan made it, you know, that where can I get into surgery if something happened, right? So the medical planning that goes into this is absolutely insane. And it would actually blow your mind as to the level of capability of a trauma center that we would have in the middle of nowhere. It was pretty crazy, in the air, everything. So
yeah, even inbound, like there was like 20 of us waiting, you know, and then they'd show up, or if it was real, you know, traumatic, it was off to Germany. A lot of the guys went to Germany. But we had a few come, you know, roll through and
get stabilized and get out.
Yep, exactly. I met all walks of life, from you know, American kids who, you know, were ashamed to get a Purple Heart, and it was like, you know, my dad's gonna kill me, and it's like, what? I was a dad. I was like, I'd be,
and maybe some of that guilt too, right? Like my friend died, I didn't, or something like that. You know, that's
switching out. Yeah, it's exactly correct. Like switching out from like point to the back was just his turn to go, and then it happened.
Yep.
And just all those, yeah.
Yeah. And the comms lockdown piece, just so people understand, is basically that you knew that someone had been hurt and or killed at that time. So that's to ensure that information doesn't make its way back to Canada or any other nation before the next of kin is notified, so that their, father, son, mother, they're not finding out that their family member has been injured or killed from a Facebook post or from hearsay. It's all factual information getting delivered to them, which is important. It's out of respect and
yeah, the appropriate chain. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, it's not something you wanted to see happen. And when it happened, it was like fuck. It was shitty. So it happened far too often, to be honest with you. So
yeah, it did.
Especially in some of those later years, and
even back home, Jen would be like, oh, we saw that this happened. That is not at all what happened. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it was 20% truth, and it was like, no, that's not the way it happened, but whatever.
Yeah, however they need to shape it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was I think kind of I loved being at Rule 3, as much as it, sometimes it was not very pleasant. However, you were still
involved.
Yeah, involved. I felt like I was, actually doing something meaningful. So it was pretty hard not to, attach yourself to that.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the route I think I'm going to go. Should I get into the military, which I did. And then...
so you come home, you apply?
Yep.
As a medic?
As a medic.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a kerfuffle, shocker, with the
AFRC?
With the CAF, yeah. I had to find my own school because it was late in the year, because I signed November, right? So it was like September kind of fall sessions had already started, so I had to find my own paramedic school. So New Brunswick tended to be where the mothership was and I ended up in Glace Bay, Nova Scotia.
Is that far away from you originally, or?
Yeah, super far. But it's just it was a culture shock.
Yeah.
Going to Glace Bay, and that's not to knock anyone in Glace Bay. It was just, my goodness gracious. But I was shot out of a cannon, right? So middle of this little small spot. But I mean, the guys took care of me there, and it was great. But then, anyway, long story short, it might have been where I started having some problems, because we were doing some scenarios, and I caught a smell of, a body, whatever, and I was like, I don't think I
don't love this.
Want to do this anymore.
Yep.
So we had a really good captain. He was awesome. He was just like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I don't think so." But I said, "I just don't think I want to do this anymore."
Yeah. And you caught that early, I would think, then, because
I was having trouble for a couple of days, sleeping. It had to do probably with, the area I was into. It was just all new. Everything was new. And it was I was alone, a lot of pressure. Pay wasn't great. Then they took some of that stuff away because I wasn't grandfathered in. So it was like, well, I'm paying a mortgage and now I'm paying rent. And it's like, they took some money away. And I was like, okay, well,
what are we doing?
What do you want me to do? Yeah. So anyway, my sergeant, who was taking care of me, and then the captain were like, look, you tested off the charts. You can pretty much do whatever you would like.
For trades.
For trades, yeah. So they brought in the BPSO and my sergeant and this captain got Jen involved as well with we're going to pick a trade that maybe we think, just from knowing you, that you might like, and the wife will, and then we'll go from there. If you want to, great. If you don't, then whatever.
Yep.
We all picked Ammo Tech, which is crazy. It was a complete 180.
I picked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, cool. I never, done anything like that in my life. I shot guns, but nothing that would make me want to be an ammunition.
Yeah.
But it's a long story short. I got in as an ammunition tech.
Yeah. So just so, without going to, how would you describe what an ammo tech does on a very broad scale?
Let me think. I'd say we'd be, we basically the full cycle of ammunition from buying it to, maintaining it, keeping it safe, maintaining it, bringing it back around, and then, demilling it, get it ready of it. If it's not good, make sure it's good to go.
Yep.
If it's not good to go, then it's a lug disposal. We get rid of it, right?
And understanding all of that stuff too. Like it's a estimation too, right? Safety distance.
Especially for a sieve coming in, because normally that trade at the time they had just started to take in directs. It usually was I forget the name, was someone who was already in coming into a trade.
Like a
Not a direct, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But you kind of had to have experience already to go there.
Yep.
But they started because they were having.
It was one of those, like there's a couple of them, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I was told from the get-go, from the people in the trade that are going to watch this, are going to know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he will too, but that guy.
Yeah.
Told me I was going to fail right off the bat. He was like, Mr. Yeah, it was super nice. He was a great gentleman. But I had a great warrant in Matt Hull. I'll name him because he was amazing.
Yeah.
Jay Condi, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing instructors.
Good.
Plus, I was 33. I was serious.
Yeah.
So studied my ass off. Had great, peers, and then ended up topping the course.
Nice.
This
is your threes?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. My threes. So end up topping it, and then that's where that door opened to you guys. So double whammy. I top it, and then I'm going to the unit.
Okay. So how did that happen? How'd that connection get made?
So they're running a recruiting drive. It was a pilot that they had run through Bonvi and our current Big Cheese.
Yeah.
And it was, to me, the best one we had, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the best ones we had. They're amazing.
Yeah.
But they took a chance on me.
Early coming out like that's.
Yeah. It's Jeff and Jeff.
Yeah.
You remember Jeff, who's now running the shop, which is amazing. So 2 guys, not a lot of experience. We're going to take a shot on these guys. And they did. And I think it worked out well for them.
I would say so.
And it worked out well for us as well. Like we loved obviously being there. It was a big deal. For me anyway, it was huge.
You reside in Quebec currently, right?
Yep.
Yeah. On the Quebec side. So traveling to Dwyer Hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long were you at Dwyer Hill for?
12 years.
12 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or retiring in.
Yeah. This past November.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did my entire career there.
Mm-hmm. And how many deployments did you with?
A couple.
Yeah.
To Rebel.
Yeah.
And then a lot of little jingle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maintaining.
Correct.
Ensuring. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
But traveled the absolute planet with you guys. Working.
Saw you everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, foreign militaries, you name it. I got to work with, like, it was incredible. I mean, you can't not fall in love with that.
No.
It's
and one thing I'll say is, and I wish I could explain this better to people, but and everyone has this for their own personal interests, but the special forces specifically is a fucking drug. It is. I don't care whether you're the assaulter on the ground, the ammo tech, the intel officers. Everything's real. It's not fucking make believe. It's not we're playing for exercising. Everything is operational, and training drove operations drove the training. Right, that was the goal of it. So that's one thing I loved about it is and why it's so hard to leave. I think for everyone involved is it is. I read this poem once and I wish I had it on me. It's like, it's like a mistress, you know what I mean? It's like maybe that's not the best example right now, but like it's something you can't leave. You can't, it'll keep pulling you in no matter what. And it's what SOF does for all involved is it just makes sense. Like, cause I personally have never been into like heavy drugs, but like if I would know the feeling based on how I felt about this job and going through it, all the deployments, the people, like top-notch human beings, top-notch Canadians, Brits, Americans.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything.
I think what got me, and this is through dissecting it with, a fine lady in Michelle that I've had for 5 years, taking care of my brain.
You and I both, yeah.
She, you peel back stuff I had been looking for with me was acceptance. Like my entire life is what I guess I wanted. And I found that there, and a belonging, like when I was, with you guys, or you guys asked me specifically to go somewhere with you, the Steves, the Lukes, those guys that just, they're asking you, how much do you want to be involved? And you're like, oh, okay, I'm kind of in. They trust me. I take that.
When you're good at your fucking job, that changes everything, right? So
It added pressure.
yeah,
And I mean, good pressure.
Yeah.
But I got very, as you said, addicted to that.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't say no.
Yeah. And that comes with its own fucking cost.
It certainly did.
On both ends, for everyone involved.
It certainly did.
Yeah.
Because if something was to ever happen, I would have wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Versus be at my cottage and then I find out through the grapevine, whatever.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But yeah, I loved going. It was a big deal. It was fun. It was a riot. We, burned the candle, at both ends for 12 years.
As much as it can be burnt. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, from jumping out of planes to skipping across water to, manning the gun for, Dev Crew, and me. It's like, what in the world? I can't believe I'm doing this. This is crazy.
It really is. Sometimes those aha moments, like just what the
God.
fuck am I doing right now? Yeah. People have no idea. And the best part is you have to come home and then use your fucking pronouns and be nice to everyone. And
It was weird.
Dude.
It was weird. I don't know if I'd be able to.
It's still hard.
Yeah. It changed me, obviously, like the directness that we have when we talk. And I mean, I've always been like that. If I'm doing something wrong, tell me, and then I'll do it right. I'm telling you out of I care, not out of I'm trying to embarrass you. This is important. Pay attention.
That's what I enjoyed about the
Yeah, especially in our game, it's super important. So pay attention. It could save your life or your friends.
Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah. So it was that was it was that meaning. I think that that acceptance, the guys accepting me, and then just a sense of belonging and pride.
Yeah.
I took it very serious.
Yeah. Well, obviously we're friends, and I could blow smoke up your ass, but you were very good at your job, and there was a reason why you were wanted all the time. So, which was awesome, because it was great having people that were just so fucking good around you that you don't have to worry about that stuff. And it made life so much easier on us. I can tell you that right now, like that. And that worked, as one big unit then, right? One big cohesive, and it just changes everything. Yeah.
That means a lot.
Cause you get shitty people, right? And shitty people fucking, both ends, right? And
sure.
And it's all over, and it's interesting to work with people that care and want to do their job. So
yeah. But I mean, kudos to you guys as well. Like you guys did not have to take me in the way you guys did, because you guys never made me once feel uncomfortable or like you don't belong here, or you're a support specialist, you're not a dude.
The constant sexual assault claims against you from other dudes probably wasn't enough to do it.
Yeah, exactly. All of that.
Yeah. You signed the waiver.
Yeah.
And we're canceled again. Yeah. But okay, so
that stuff.
Yes.
I mean, you can't buy that.
No, you can't. It's genuine, and it was.
Yeah, I miss it. I miss that.
Oh, fun.
More than
me too.
Anything.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. The camaraderie, just that piece is. Yeah. You just don't replace it. I'm never going to find it again in this lifetime. From on that level in
on that level.
Yeah. I don't mean from individuals, but just at that level for sure. So when did you really start showing interest at dogs? I know in the unit you did. I had gone through my training in 2017, and I knew you were quite always offering to help in different things and scenarios and such. So at what point did you start to have an interest in?
Well, I always had I always wanted to make myself more valuable. That way you guys can get rid of me.
Look, I'll show them.
Yeah. So hey, like you know, a DZ controller, yeah, game, sure.
Which is another thing, right?
Yeah, it was a hoot. But the decoy course came up. Guys from not Canine, but they came down from Miami. And there was a bunch of us. There was about maybe 10 of us. You know, got into suits and got the shit kicked out of us for a week. From police dogs to our own dogs, and then it just became you know, hey, we need there's someone in the bite suit. Do you want to? Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't understand the art necessarily. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get chewed on like a chew toy. Yeah. But the responsibility in catching, you know, these, you know, $1 million machines, countless hours of training going into them, whereas one fuck up, you could ruin that dog. Yeah. And just the art of learning to catch the dog. And it was pretty, I had no idea until I had an idea. And I was like, this is pretty cool.
And just so people understand, the decoy plays a monumental role in the training of a dog. It can literally make or break the dog. So just, you know, I see a lot of police agencies that do this. They just throw random people in suits, and I get it. There's going to be times when, hey, I just need you to hide here and expose just on a sleeve, right? That's one thing. That's fine. But when you're into training these dogs and you're having people who don't understand how to catch them safely, you're putting them at risk and the dog. And you know, it's hard to replace these dogs. These dogs don't grow on trees at all. Wow. And the level of hours and everything. So if you can condition the wrong movement, you can change the way this dog thinks he's doing good things, right? Like it's very, very important. So a decoy is everything, literally.
Yeah, I was nervous almost every time, but I think it was nervousness out of, you know, I gave her shit. And I wanted to make sure, you know, I gave the dog a nice performance, because you're giving them a performance, which is their treat. Like, don't be shy to TL and scream. You know, that's the fun part.
Especially when the muzzle's on and stuff. Yeah. I love the screams.
Yeah, the muzzle. Well, yeah, muzzle training is a whole. Getting torpedoed from. Yeah. I'm sitting in a chair in the middle of the room, and then you get torpedoed. Yeah, you get torpedoed, or they'll like punch you with their face because they want to get at you, or I got a bunch of that stuff. Yeah. But what a hoot, man!
Yeah, like it's such a riot, man. And to do that at this level must have been so.
What a hoot! Yeah, because to see like our dogs in action versus like some of the ERT would come from like OPP. Yeah. The dogs didn't bite hard. I don't think they're really trained to bite hard, more so maybe subdue. Yeah, the bite would suck. Yeah. But our guys, when they would latch on, man, holy Moses. It was a whole different level of pressure and violence. Like it was terrifying.
So you should see Brad Gillespie, who kind of founded our program, is now he left, and he went back to the OPP. He's the head trainer of the OPP, or one of the head trainers there. He runs the entire Ontario Provincial Police Program with a number of other individuals. What he's doing for canine training across this country right now is absolutely fucking incredible. He is changing the way that trainers and handlers think and train their dogs, and to change a mindset, something so big, a culture, absolutely so big and so hard to turn. He's doing it at a pace that is pretty unbelievable, in all honesty. He's got a lot of people on board, and the right people. And, as some of these other people fade out, I've been doing it for 30 years this way, people, and no one fucking cares. And
that's how they know.
And that's it. And I'll never fault anyone for doing things the way they know, because that's what they know. But then don't be resistant to the change, right? And that's what I say with this social media side of things is, it shows you what you want to see. You don't listen to all this shit. Like there's the countless hours that go into this, the bloopers that it took to make that one fucking reel that they got 20,000 likes on. Like no one fucking cares, man. Like that's why I hate
a Malinois shooting.
Oh man, in between the legs. Oh, that was amazing. By the way, like I'm sorry.
How many takes?
I'm sorry,
but yes, agree.
Crush that. Yeah. But that's incredible from a training perspective. But yeah, so what Brad Brad is doing across this country right now is, his work with the Canadian Police Canine Association, incredible. His work with the Ontario Provincial Police, his work with the RCMP, building their national capability, their team with the canine, incredible. So kudos to Brad, because doing something like this is incredible.
He was the one who got me the course, and then loaded me on the course, and then I mean, from family day to
that was fun. Yeah.
Oh, it was a hoot, man. The kids yelling, "No, he's over there." But shh, you need to shush them. Be quiet.
Yeah.
Don't tell the dog.
Yeah.
But it was a riot. So I mean, how can you? They're like, hey, we're going out to the whatever. Do you want to come do some stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. That's a great way. I don't want to do this anymore. Let's go play with dogs for a while, right?
It breaks the monotony of, this is like your job, which is fine. But that's what I liked about that place, was the cross training. I loved it.
Yeah.
Whether it was weapons, working on a car, or, photography, you name it.
Yeah. So you leave. So at what point did you get your first dog? And, tell us a little bit about your dogs that you currently have.
I've had dogs my whole life. However, I would say like my first significant dog was 2009 when I got back.
Yeah.
We got our King Shepherd, so Chinook. We had him for 11 years. And he was a big part of. I don't even think at the time I knew it was recovery.
Yeah.
But it was a recovery.
Yep.
Now that we kind of break it down, and we've broken it down. But he was a big part of my life. So when he passed, like he had when he had cancer, and then he passed, that was pretty devastating.
Yeah.
But I didn't want another dog after that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not interested. I don't want to do that. And
shit.
years.
Yeah.
I go down, in January, and it was pretty rough, and then come home, and Jen had adopted this failed police dog.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah.
A Dutchie. So,
who's stunning, by the way.
Yeah, she's awesome. At the time, I was, not doing well to begin with, and neither was she. She had been severely abused. When we went to get her off the plane, she was still had open sores, and she was pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we took to each other.
Yeah.
And then kind of helped each other out along the way. A lot of walks when I could start to walk.
Yeah.
And kind of healed each other.
Yeah.
And then fell in love with Miss Mara.
Yeah.
And
how old is she now?
She's 7 now.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, we got her when she was 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a psycho, but she's she's Mara.
Yeah.
You can't.
She's your psycho. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
she's constantly on.
Mm-hmm.
The wind blows, she's on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, she's a big baby too.
Yeah.
And she knows that I love her to death.
Yeah.
She can pretty much do anything, and I'll give her cheese.
Yeah. And who else do you got?
So we got another rescue, which I did not want. But Manny. So Manny is quite the breed. He's half Cane Corso and half Bulldog.
Yeah.
Pit Bull. So now he's 195 pounds and 70 pounds a head. He's like just a big doofus, but he's like Mara's yang.
Yeah.
He's very calm and, but he's still a teenager, and she's past that. But they bounce off each other, and it's nice to see her react with him.
Yeah.
Because it didn't take...
Good for her too, right?
It is. It didn't take long for them to just kind of be, brother and sister.
How old was he when you got him?
He was a little less than a year. So, yeah, he's almost 2. We're getting to that now. So, but, yeah.
Coming out of the teenage years? starting
He
kid.
is.
Yeah.
He is. But he was recovered in a trailer park. Like he's got a lot of scars on him. Yeah, a lot of scars. But super docile, man. Like just
Good for you for taking on 2 rescues as well. Yeah.
that would be Jen and Sim. I was pretty. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, I don't want it.
Don't think this is the right time and right.
Not even that. I was just like, I have Mara.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't want to get attached to Manny. I love the guy to death.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's just like I don't want to take care of another dog. So if you're bringing him in, cool. Obviously, but he's yours, not mine.
Yeah.
It's slowly changing.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
But Jen is the mom though. Like he absolutely adores her. Sim is, you know, and Cam are his owners.
Yeah.
But you know, he loves Jen because Jen's Jen.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and she's been through it with you, like, as well. Like I've had the pleasure of meeting her too, and
yeah.
fantastic person too. So.
Yeah. And it's ironic how Mara's personality is very similar to my life.
Careful, yeah.
She's a proud French Canadian, from Quebec lady. So, I mean, what are the odds? I have the same type of, you know. But I mean, I couldn't do a lot. I couldn't have done a lot of things without Mara.
Yeah, and you know, one of the, you know, getting your experience and getting, especially on what dogs can do to us to heal us, and I don't just mean, I mean for everyone, for every little thing, whether it be, you know, you want a little more like affection in your life, or like you need some healing work done, and what dogs can do for us, what we think they can do and what they can do. It's not even like, I don't think it's really known, like in terms of what I've never in my life believed in energy before, like, you know, like actual energy. Then when I pick up a leash now, I've never known that to be like, you know, it's always, okay, well, things react. Well, I got to tell you, like, I fully think the opposite now. I think that, you know, what we put off into the world absolutely changes people and things around us. And with dogs specifically, I've never been more firm on the fact that your energy changes the way dogs interact with you, and vice versa.
I'd agree with that.
And it just, after the hundreds and hundreds of dogs I've worked with now, what they can do for us is incredible, and what we can give them and what we can do for them is incredible too. And, you know, that's...
Yeah, there are times I feel like I don't have enough to give, you know, because she's so giving. Loyal, all that stuff, you know, that you hear. Like, I mean, I could go outside to the car just to get my wallet and come back, and where were you? Like, oh, where the hell have you been? Yeah, where were you? See how nice I was? Let's go get some cheese.
Yeah. Cheese is a pattern here. See,
cheese.
Yeah.
But you know, from like times where I was struggling, she would dial it down, and she would just come sit or lay in bed with me.
Yeah. That right there, that ability for a dog that is up here to to dial everything in to be what you need in that moment.
Yep, total 180.
You know, and a lot of our community and a lot of our members will know this, like, what that does for you in that moment. You know, not only could that be a nice Sunday afternoon, that could be change your life, like, realistically, not just in that moment and day, but life changing. And I think some of us have kind of gone through that with these dogs. So, you know.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah. So it's don't take these guys for granted what they can do. They're absolutely incredible. And, you know, the whole, we don't deserve dogs. Like, fuck, man, you're right. Like, they're fucking incredible. Like, what they do for us, what we don't know that they do for us too, is, I think,
what we don't know. Yeah, I agree with that.
There just seems to be more and more. I'm starting to, I don't know that I would say spiritual, but I feel as though I've learned to be that energy and spiritual with dogs now is changing the way I even look at a dog. I handle the leash for clients now, and I rarely look at the dog anymore. Like, and it's something that I started to notice. And I'm going to get someone that I know to kind of come out and film for us as well, to kind of do this, because one of the things I've stopped doing is really even fucking looking at the dog. Everything is through my leash, my communication, and that energy. And And I'm starting to think about it as I'm doing it. And I'm like, holy fuck, I haven't even looked at the dog once, but I have got
It is a tether, though. It's a tether of energy, and they feel it in your hand, or,
the tension and everything, right? It
sure.
flows. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Animals are wired differently,
Yep.
like I'm like, even to like not knowing anything about horses, because I learned through horses with Tim, obviously. But, you're walking onto a paddock with a horse, and a horse can be on the opposite end of the paddock, and you're walking in there, elevated. They'll hear that in your heart, and they'll be like, oh.
Yeah. I've always heard that horses are a lot like dogs in that regard, like very much people who work with horses and train them
Similar to you. I don't think I was very spiritual. I don't know if spiritual is the word, but
I don't know.
I don't know. A horse would wrap itself around me with its body, and I was like, maybe that's pure coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just accept it for whatever it is.
And what you just said, so that's where I'm at now, is now I don't know that I can just go, oh yeah, it is this. Now it's just like, it doesn't matter.
No, I'll just take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll just take it. So like, kind of thank you. I don't know how many times the horse probably didn't understand me. That just saying like thank you, really. They look into you with their fucking eyes. But yeah, man. It was so cute. Oh man. Absolutely. It was amazing. So, but yeah, animals, especially Mara, was a big part of my recovery. She still is.
Well, I'm glad you have her, and I'm glad you added another one to your pack. And yeah, I know that's tough, but
he's doehead, man.
Honestly, man, yeah, I love the big males. They're just big dummies, man. They're so cute.
He is the big softie. It's all he is. He's great. He's clean, and he's just a dude. That's all he is.
No, I'm really happy to hear that, man. Thank you for coming on and sharing a bit of this today, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that Mara continues to be, and Manny continues to be everything for you and more. 100%. Happy and healthy life to all involved. So much appreciated, man.
Ditto, right back at you. Anytime.
So thank you guys for coming and listening to Lee today. Lee's a good friend, someone I've had the pleasure of knowing for a number of years now. And you rarely get to meet the type of people that I'm sitting across from right now. So reach out to those people, check in on those people, and be with those people more, because they are what makes us move forward. So thank you, and I'll look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.